Moving on, Indian astronaut Shubhanshu Shukla is on the cusp of history, set to become only the second Indian to go to space. He will set off on a space odyssey 41 years after his idol Rakesh Sharma orbited the Earth for 8 days as part of Soviet Union's Intercosmos program. Lucknow-born Shukla is part of an ISRO-NASA-supported commercial space flight by Axiom Space, which is expected to lift off from the Kennedy Space Center. A group captain in the Indian Air Force, Shukla, will be piloting the Axiom 4 mission to the International Space Station. Now, the mission, which was originally scheduled to be launched today, has been rescheduled due to unfavorable weather conditions. The mission marks the beginning of a new era in Indian space. India has seen big milestones in its space journey. With Shukla's flight, we are moving into the next gear. Axiom 4 mission is closely integrated with our own space plans and will provide some critical inputs to the Gaganyaan mission and other missions to follow. And tonight, we are joined by K.D. Coleman, retired NASA astronaut, public speaker, and also author of the new book, Sharing Space, An Astronaut's Guide to Mission, Wonder and Making Change. Thank you very much. Thank you for speaking with us. Now, the Axiom 4 is preparing for its launch. This mission is particularly significant for India, as you know, marking its return to human spaceflight after 41 years. Does this signal a new era for international collaboration in space? Your views?
It certainly does. It's wonderful to see this being a mission of many governments working all together and working together in space.
Well, as someone who has commanded missions, what unique challenges do you see, for the entire crew, for Shubhanshu Shukla and the crew?
Well, the first lesson is that they are very experienced, wonderful crew members, and they volunteered for an 8-day mission. Most missions are 6 months, and so it was actually hard to say we will train for a really long time and only go for 8 days. And so when the mission became longer, I think they were very happy, actually, because when you train for a job, you train for a mission, it's something that's important to you to carry out. And when you get that opportunity, that's what you want to do. And I think the lesson to be learned from their flight is actually a lesson down here on the ground, in that those two people, Sunny and Butch, and both are friends of mine, they were never stranded in space. They always had a way home. I mean, space is always dangerous for everyone. It's never exactly safe, but they always had a way to come home if it was necessary. And so to be portrayed as astronauts that were stranded, as astronauts that did not feel well, or maybe, up in space, we all end up with sort of bigger cheeks and skinnier chins, and, everyone loses a little bit of weight. I mean, to have so much attention paid to small details and interpreting them in just the scariest way. I really think that here on Earth as citizens, it makes everyone realize we have to listen carefully to the facts. And the facts are that these are professional astronauts, just as on Axiom 4. These are astronauts that are trained. If they have to stay longer, I guarantee you they will be very happy.
Absolutely. Now, as this particular mission is all set to take off, I'm sure you know about India's plans. Gaganyaan is India's flagship human spaceflight mission with Shubhanshu Shukla among its participants. What are your thoughts on India's involvement in the human space exploration?
Well, having spent almost 6 months up on the space station, looking back at the Earth, seeing India, actually, it's so very beautiful and so different, and it takes so long to cross compared to many other places on the Earth. But looking back, we are all citizens of the same planet. And so it makes so much sense that we explore together. And at the same time, it's also very helpful to have national missions where there's some consolidation of effort and resources, and also, scientific pathways being investigated. And so I think it makes a lot of sense. And I think it's a very, I'm very excited to see more people in space.
So what would you say, makes the Axiom 4 mission stand out among the recent private space flights?
It stands out because it's one of many government missions. Sorry, let me say that again. It stands out because It's a mission of several governments together, and it's no private astronauts, but only government astronauts, and that's a great mission.
Well, lastly, could you tell us more about your book, Sharing Space: An Astronaut's Guide to Mission, Wonder and Making Change?
One of the reasons that I wrote my book is that I felt very privileged to go to space and to be able to see our Earth from so far away and have a perspective that down on the Earth there are so many qualified people, and if only they knew how close, how connected they could be. And it seems like they might live far from each other, but it's all on the same planet, and that everyone has something to contribute to important missions. So I wrote this book to explain some of the things that I loved doing and going to space and those adventures, and when it's dangerous, how we prepare for that, and when we're assigned to teams that we do not choose, which is all of us. We do not get to pick who we will go with. We make a team because we keep the mission straight in front of us. We focus on the mission, and that's what helps us overcome any things that are different about us and realize that those differences, those ways that we are not the same, those are the key to our success because it brings many talents to the mission. So that's what I like to, that's why I wrote my book, also to show people that definitely it's a pretty interesting, amazing place up in space.
Well, you're absolutely right. We need to explore space together. We need more such national missions. Thank you very much, Katie Coleman, for joining us on the broadcast. All eyes on the Axiom mission. Shubhanshu Shukla, the second Indian astronaut to travel to space, and the first one, in fact, would be stepping inside the International Space Station. With that, we are wrapping up this edition of News Hour. Quick break.